AI has taken over art, music, and now it's starting to take over animation. But the real question is, can AI create animations that rival the genius and effort of human animators? And with AI having the capabilities of generating complex animations in seconds, will the countless hours spent on frame-by-frame animation even matter in the long run? In this video, I set out to answer these very important questions by going one-on-one with AI. Make sure to stick around because this was a pretty crazy one. This video is sponsored by Squarespace, the all-in-one website platform to help you build your online presence, but more on them later.
So basically, there's this tweet of a new AI model for animation that was getting released, and the video just looked absolutely bonkers.
This right here is all generated by AI. Even though you can still tell it's AI because of the artifacts here and there, imagine where this technology is going to be in just a few years. It's kind of bonkers. So I'll be using the website that created these animations. It's called Vidu, and I'll be generating an AI animation that I'll be competing with to see who could do it better, an AI or a human animator.
Image to video, reference to video, text to video. That's what we gotta do. So I guess we could just put inspire me. Oh, set in a steampunk universe and meticulously crafted paper. Okay, I'm not reading all that, to be completely honest. I guess we could try generating it.
A few seconds after I click generate, the AI had already completed a final product for me, and this is what it was.
What the heck is this? This looks like a piece of shit.
Right after the AI generated a mid-ass prompt, I decided to ask ChatGPT for an anime-related prompt to try to get the results that I was originally expecting. And then to my surprise, this happened.
Oh, I kind of like this one because it's describing the characters. Okay, let's do this one.
So I decided that this will be the final prompt for this video. No more redos for this AI. This is gonna be our prompt. An anime protagonist with spiky, windswept hair and glowing, intense eyes charges up a powerful energy attack. The camera focuses on their face, showing a mix of determination and grit as sparks and glowing particles surround them. They clench their teeth and shout, "Let's end this!" The camera quickly zooms out to show them unleashing a massive, colorful energy blast. The background is a dramatic sunset sky with swirling clouds, and the screen shakes as the attack erupts, illuminating their face with an intense glow. I then fed this prompt to the AI, and after a short moment, it was ready to go, and I was not expecting it to look like this.
Oh my god. I might actually be cooked.
Now that AI had cooked up something that is honestly way better than I expected, I knew that in order to totally destroy it, I would have to lock in and be as efficient as possible with my time and resources. So, now that it's my turn, and with the pressure to not be outdone by AI, I got started on my animation right away. First things first, in order to avoid any issues down the road when it comes to consistently drawing the character, I decided that I would quickly create a character sheet of our MC. I followed the prompt as best as I could and tried giving the character my own touch so that this animation has a little bit more of me than the typical works I create. AI art and animation is totally soulless, so if I'm able to add soul to my works, the AI generated animation simply would not stand a chance against me. I had to make sure that I had all the angles I needed for later on. This included a full body shot, close-ups of his face, eyes, and mouth. I also colored him in so that I could have my color palette be easily accessible for later on. He's so cool, look at him. Next, I got started on the storyboard to plan out what exactly I was going to animate and how I was going to defeat AI to prove that it could never replace me. Since after giving the AI the prompt ChatGPT created, it was only able to make a little sequence of just one cut. I thought that in order to outdo AI, I would have to make a multi-cut sequence that allows me to do full justice to the original prompt. So I divided the prompt into 7 different cuts. Cut 1 features our main character raising his hands, preparing to deliver his awesome attack. Cut 2 is a close-up shot of his intense eyes to build further anticipation of what's to come. Then cut 3 is gonna be a close-up shot of his mouth, delivering the dialogue generated by ChatGPT. Cut 4 features a complex shot of our MC with the camera zooming out, leading to a massive explosion. Cut 5 will have a wider angle, allowing us to see the full scale of the explosion. Then cut 6 is a shot of clouds moving and sun rays breaking through them, signaling the end of the battle. And finally, cut 7 will be the final shot of our main character with his hair waving and smoke in the background, as he has totally packed up his enemies. After spending a good amount of time planning everything out, I hop straight into animating. Cut 1 features our main character raising his hands, getting ready to unleash hell. The idea of this cut is to show the MC raising his hands in anticipation of his awesome attack. So I started off by positioning a 3D model to get the pose just right, and as I was sketching each frame of the main character raising his hands, I ran into a little problem. The movement fell pretty stiff. I want this character to come alive. Pause. So the rest of the body not moving when his arms are going up did not feel natural to me at all. To fix this, I used the liquify tool to slightly shift the head along with the arms, which made the motion feel a lot smoother and more realistic. And most importantly, it gave the character life. After that was done, I jumped straight to the line art and in-betweens. I typically animate animate in 3s, but moving forward, I'll be animating in 2s because to me, it looks far nicer and allows me more creative freedom. And also, in order to absolutely decimate AI, a little bit more effort is going to be required. I then went ahead and colored everything in by using the colors I laid down in the character sheet earlier on. And after I did that, the first cut was finished. Up next is cut 2. And for this cut, I wanted an intense close-up of the MC's eyes to build up anticipation. But first, I'm going to show you how easy it is to create your own website and store using this video sponsor, Squarespace, the all-in-one website platform that makes building your personal brand super simple. I started with their design intelligence feature. It utilizes AI to help you create your own personalized website in no time. This makes everything super easy. And just like that, I was able to customize my website to fit my brand with ease. This is thanks to their awesome flexible website templates. For example, I picked a portfolio template that I thought looked cool and was able to easily customize it. And finally, I dabbled into Squarespace payments, which makes managing payments super easy if you want to set up a store just like I did here. You can easily set up different payment methods like Apple Pay and Klarna and start accepting payments right away. So make sure to head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/bunny to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Now it's time for cut 2. I started off by importing the storyboard sketch into the canvas because I think the drawing is already solid and saves me time. Thanks to this, I went straight into the line art and separated the hair and eyes into different layers. Since I wanted it to be a slow shot of the hair waving and his eyes getting more intense, I drew up the first and the last frames and used onion skinning to fill in the in-betweens, giving it a slow motion effect. This cut perfectly sets up and builds tension to what is about to come in the animation because it tells the viewers that there is intent behind those eyes and that he plans on doing something devious. And after wrapping this cut up, it ended up feeling intense just like I imagined in my head, which means it's time to move on to cut 3. The idea here was to show the MC delivering a line of dialogue with a nice close-up of the character's mouth. I followed the same steps as the previous cut, but I focused on his mouth instead. He's supposed to be saying, "Let's end this," very intensely. And now that I'm thinking about it, I haven't even thought of a voice actor for this line yet. So I hit up my friend with benefits, Deluxe Panthers, and I told him to do this for me. And he said that he was down. So we'll come back to this later to check up on him to see how he did. I didn't want to spend too much time on this one since there's other cuts that are going to require a lot of effort, and doing lip syncing would take a while to do. So I simply animated his mouth opening and closing to create the illusion of speech. This didn't take that long to do and will get the job done just as well. It turned out simple, but it was effective in conveying what I needed it to, officially wrapping this cut up. Next up is cut 4. This one was definitely a tough one. The idea was to have a crazy camera zoom out leading into an explosion, but getting started on this one was pretty difficult for me because of how complex it was. I was really overthinking this shot in my head, which led to a lot of procrastination. It just looked like it would take a really long time and I just didn't want to face it. But then I remembered that I was doing this for a reason. I was doing this to obliterate AI. So even though I overcomplicated this in my head, I decided to face my demons head on and overcome my procrastination by just starting. I dragged the storyboard into the first frame and added a few more drawings to map out the sequence. That helped me get a clearer picture and a sense of direction, but there was a problem. The initial zoom out felt too plain. To fix this, I added a quick zoom in to the MC's face for more anticipation before zooming out. I also added moving lines into the ground to add a sense of speed. Then I animated the beginning of the explosion, and since the prompt said that it had to be colorful, I decided to make it the color pink. And just like that, our main character finally released pause, his finishing move. Pause again, indicating that the end of this battle is near. By the way, I just wanted to mention that the MC doesn't have a name yet, so I'm gonna let you guys decide. Whichever comment suggesting a name for our character gets the most likes will officially be the name of our character. Blech. Now it's time for cut 5. This cut features a simple explosion shot. I tried to not think about this too hard, and I allowed my mind to roam free without any restrictions. I didn't add much detail to the explosion right now because I had a little idea that was going to make this shot look a lot more complete during the compositing phase. And Bunny from the future here, I kinda cooked pretty hard, I'm not gonna lie. To add further intensity to this shot, I split this explosion into 2 parts. The first initial explosion, then a shockwave hits, and right after it hits, the explosion grows even bigger from there. So strong today, oh my goodness. Just like that, cut 5 was finished, which means it's time to move on to cut 6. And it features stormy clouds moving and sun rays creeping through. This cut doesn't feature any 2D animation, but it is indeed going to have movement. In order to make this work, I sketched out each cloud and painted them in separate layers so that I could easily export them individually. I then dragged all the clouds into After Effects. I started by adjusting the positions individually to add the illusion of the wind blowing the clouds and making them move. Since I wanted this cut to symbolize the end of a battle and wanted it to feel serene, I had to make sure that the original rays I had in mind come through smoothly and look nice. So in order to accomplish this, I added a solid color, masked it out accordingly, and added feathering to it to add the light rays. Then I keyframed the opacity on the rays to make them appear smoothly. I gotta say, this shot came out nice and stylized just how I like it. On to cut 7. This final cut features our MC staring directly at the camera with his hair waving in the wind. So I started by yet again importing the storyboard sketch into the canvas and began working on on the line art of his head right away. Instead of doing the full thing, I left him bald so that I could animate his hair on a layer above the head. Am I the only one that does this? Does anyone else leave their characters bald? To me, this cut symbolizes a feeling where you know you wrapped up something big, but there's still a lot more to be done. So you can't be fully satisfied just yet. I feel like this damn near every single day, so in a way, I relate to our MC right here. The hair movement was pretty simple but effective, and I think it gives the intensity this cut needs really well. I went back and added all the in-betweens this cut needed and wrapped it up once and for all. And just like that, the animation portion of this project was finished. I spent a solid 2 weeks working on this, and AI generated its sequence in mere seconds. You know what else takes mere seconds? Leaving a like on this video and subscribing. Please subscribe, I'm trying to reach 100K soon. Now, moving on to the backgrounds. I wanted there to be a sense of beauty, but also attention behind these backgrounds. I started by painting a simple sky that I was going to use throughout the sequence, making sure the colors were appealing and easy on the eyes. I didn't want to spend too much time on the background since painting them isn't my favorite thing ever, but I'm aiming to put more effort into them in the future. For cut 4, I drew a basic landscape to add some depth. It was simple, but I got the job done. I was also going to use this background and stack them on top of each other for the final cut. When I moved on to cut 5, I used a similar approach. The mountains in the background were a bit more annoying to paint than I expected, but I managed to finish them without too much trouble. Overall, while I kept things straightforward, these backgrounds worked well enough for what I needed. Up next is compositing. My goal with the compositing this time around isn't just to put everything together and blend things in to make them look more natural as I've just been doing these last couple of projects. This time I want to add more and truly add the polish these shots are missing. For example, turning this shot that looks very flat into something that looks far more interesting. This was achieved by adding shadows with masks, grabbing 1 or 2 colors, adding an inner shadow, and adding highlights manually. That is exactly how I was able to turn this explosion that had absolutely no detail into this. All with compositing. Absolutely nuts. With just a little bit of imagination, you're able to turn something totally flat into a fully polished piece of art. And that is why compositing is f***ing awesome. I then dragged everything into DaVinci Resolve to add color correction, add shakes, and finally to add the audio. I started off by searching for some intense background music on Epidemic Sound to set the tone for the animation. I didn't want it to be too intense, but just right. Once I found the right track, I imported it into the project, then moved on to sound effects, making sure that each sound matched the visuals perfectly. Every little movement needed its own sound to bring the animation to life. And finding each sound kind of took a little long, so meanwhile I was doing that, Panthers was doing his voice line for the animation.
Okay. Let's end this. 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 Let's end like the last one a lot. Okay, sorry. Let's end this.
Very cool. As I always say, you'd be surprised at how much sound design can enhance the final product. It's those subtle audio details that really make a difference, adding depth and making the whole animation feel more immersive. And after 2 weeks of work, I finally finished up my animation. But the real question is it better than the animation AI generated in mere seconds? I would say it is. But if you were to spend a bit more time generating something with AI that's not just one cut and not the first thing that gets generated, it would be a lot harder to say. What I've learned from this entire project and from turning this prompt into my own thing and putting my own interpretation into it is that AI can never replace the joy of the artistic process. It's a joy that everyone watching the final product created by a human can feel, but the same can't be said about AI. Even if it manages to look impressive, there just simply was no real effort. And with that being said, this is the final animation. Let me know what you guys think.
Let's end this.